Oh, Chattington. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, you see the title, bro. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. There are certain shows, there's 3 that I have in mind that just so good. Maybe Stranger Things doesn't even fall in this category, to be honest, because Stranger Things is a good show, in my opinion, but in a lot of people's opinion. I think it is overhyped, in my opinion as well, though. It's a good show, not the most amazing show ever. Game of Thrones, great show. That's a great show. Didn't stick the landing. Stranger Things, if this is the last episode, because I hear some rumblings of possibly a secret last episode. I don't know how they could do that. That would be amazing. That actually might be sick if they did some sort of like secret last episode where they just pull out like a last episode, a real last episode that explains everything. And then How I Met Your Mother is the third, the one that I was thinking about, where, in my opinion, great show. I love the characters so much. Just everything that was that show was really fun to watch. But then they absolutely shitted on themselves when it came to the ending of that show. So spoilers for Stranger Things. I absolutely despise choose your own endings. Now, unless it's something like Bandersnatch, which I believe is a Netflix original for Black Mirror, that is a very choose your own adventure type of thing. I think that's very fun. I think that could be cool. And that is literally, the idea of that is a choose your own adventure, so the choosing your own end makes so much more sense. A choose your own ending for a movie or show, to me, is absolutely the cheapest way and lamest way to end anything, and instantly takes your amazing film or show and deducts like 4 points out of 10 for the entirety of the show. It makes everything feel so lame. And I don't think I've ever, maybe you could say Inception, but other than that, I don't know if I've ever seen something great. And even Inception, I thought was a good movie. I thought it was a great movie. But at the end, when it's like is it or is it not like reality, spoilers for Inception, I guess, I thought that cheapened the movie. We are watching your story, the writers, the directors, the actors. This is the culmination of your brain power, teamwork, and effort. Give us a proper ending. Give us an ending that you want it to be. And if it's a bad ending, let the chips fall where they may, I guess. And if it's a good ending, you get to get the flowers of coming up with an amazing storyline, character development, and crescendo at the end. You get the credit for all of it. Otherwise, I'm left holding the bag, and either way, it feels like if I choose what I like, I guess, but my neighbor can choose something that he likes, and I don't agree with that at all. And the story feels unconclusive to me. Anyway, that whole rant aside, Stranger Things falls into this category of great show through and through, basically. It has its ups, it has its downs. Maybe you don't like some characters, and maybe some were short-lived, but overall, great show, good show. And at the end, it feels like everything just cheaps out. Why are some characters in here? Like, why is Eleven's sister back in the show for seemingly no reason? She just fucking died. At least we presume, the theory is maybe she doesn't die and maybe actually survives and allows 11 to live as well, because she throws out one more illusion and from so far away. I don't know, it feels cheap. On the one hand, if she did die, then it's, I guess, kind of noble. If she did decide to do something like that, maybe. That's option one. Okay, maybe it's more like selfless. But then they gave a lot of evidence for 11 to still be alive. It wasn't even like a choose your own, although they posed it that way. It felt like what the directors and the writers said was, here's a lot of evidence on why 11 is still alive. But at the end of the day, there's just a little bit of doubt, so you choose. You're telling me there's a book under this sheet. It's in the shape of a book. It looks like a book. It like knocks like a book. I could flip the pages and you could hear it, but you get to choose whether there's an actual book under there or not. Or maybe something that just looks an awful lot like a book, sounds like a book. But in my head, I'm like, okay, you're giving me like 80% like it's a book under there, but you're telling me like I get to choose whether it's there or not. Maybe that was a horrible example, but the whole idea still stands. Not only do I get to choose, although it seems very skewed, like 70% to 30% that she's still alive. Not only do I get to choose, secondarily, in my opinion, this betrays everything that 11 is when it comes to her character throughout the entirety of the series. She had definitely separated from the friend group at some point, but it felt like time over time you learned through 11 and through her character development that it is about the friends that we make along the way. And truly, like, that is the sentiment of this show. Friendship and the teamwork that you get by not handling the world on your shoulders alone is the way to go throughout life, that this pack of people need each other. And so 11 being alive at the end and her going off on her own, and I understand that everybody goes off on their own, right? They all start to have their own adventures, but presumably just like the older cast, they also would get together. They're like best friends. They went through elementary, middle, and high school all together and literally prevented the world from collapsing in on itself. Why wouldn't they, on a monthly basis or bi-monthly or yearly at the very least, come together and just talk and chat and live a little bit of life together so that way they don't lose that connection? So 11 going off on her own and being in Switzerland or wherever the fuck she ends up being, having the double rainbow, the double waterfall ending that I guess she gets, it just betrays everything in my head that she is for the friend group, that she at the end of everything was always told, we should be together, we should all be friends and be together, and it doesn't matter the trials and tribulations that you come with, we want you in our life. On the whole like scale of everything, Stranger Things as a whole, I think was a pretty solid show through and through. I don't think I was as crazy about it as some people were. Some people were like really about it. I probably would give it a, overall, even with the ending included, like a 7 out of 10. It was solid. I liked a lot of the dynamics. I think a lot of the actors were actually pretty solid. Aside from the biggest criticism to me being the ending and the choose your own adventure ending, I thought this season, the last season, actually suffered from the most amount of corny ass lines and corny ass scenes that I've ever seen in a show. And every other line really was like the corniest thing I've ever heard. It was genuinely the meme of like, gulp, he's right behind me, isn't he? Like, bro, what the fuck? You spent all of your bag, your entire Netflix fucking revenue for all of 2025 on this show for CGI, and it shows. And I'm sorry to any writers, look, bless y'all, you tried your best, but that was just the corniest shit I've ever seen. Anyway, let me know some of your critiques, what you liked about the show. It shouldn't be all negative. I loved the CGI in this season, especially. Vecna looked fucking cool as hell. Vecna looked actually scary. I wasn't scared, but he looked just fucking, if he was standing in front of me, I would be shitting myself. And there were some actually decently touching moments. I don't know if they necessarily landed with everybody well. I personally liked them. So yeah, and again, I'm not trying to get into mega spoilers and talk about everything all at once. Let me know, like I said, some of your pros and cons down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. We have to talk about Marty Supreme. What a movie. Holy. Not in a good way.